So yeah, I want to take a moment to talk about the art business and some of the things that artists go through and why. I see a lot of the connections that I have on Facebook, and that includes you, are artists. I don't use Facebook or social media to communicate with people who I went to high school with. They were boring. I don't stay in touch with family members. They didn't believe in me and my art. So I don't care about having those people in my Facebook or social media connections and network. All right, I'm really more interested in building our art community, building talent, and building the art business, and that's what I'm about. That's where I go. So that's why you're in my immediate circle. All right. Anybody watch that movie Meet the Parents, and so I think it was in the second movie. And well, anyways, in the Meet the Parents, Robert De Niro was talking about the circle. You know, so you have the family circle, and in the second movie, they actually drew a picture of the circle, and it said family or something like that, family circle, and then they had a little dot way out there to the side, and that was Ben Stiller's character, right? Because he was outside the circle. All right, so in any case, let me turn off the sound here. There it is. In any case, I like to talk about the art business. I like talking about how can we make things better. I like talking about how can we improve our art careers, and that's why I'm here, right? And that's why we started Artist King. Artist King is the place and that one time a month where we sit down and discuss the business of art and the things that are affecting the art community and how we can make it better. And so I'm going to take this moment to talk about exactly those things. Like what are we about? What are we looking for? What's going to make things better? And it's going to start with defining a few things, right? So Alyssa Lewis, she's tuning on. Yes, ma'am. Let's see, helping the community early in the morning. Yes, ma'am. That's right. And one time I was talking about portfolios, and she said, "You don't need a portfolio." And I never got around to talk to her about what that means. And so we're gonna have to have a talk, Alyssa, and go over your definitions and what a portfolio is for, or how do you see that working in the business of art? Because if anybody knows Alyssa Lewis, she is hardcore about animators getting their value, getting their due, and getting paid to do animation. She is very active in the art community, so you want to check out My Animation Life. Okay, in any case, so let's start with some definitions, right? So let's see. Definition is what's a portfolio and why it's important. And so it's not so much that a portfolio that is important in itself, is that how you use it and how you define it. And Marissa Gender just joined us. Thank you for joining us early in the morning. Marissa, she is with Asifa South, another awesome animation group that is dedicated to educating the art community. And our goals are very similar, is that we want artists to succeed in their chosen profession. All right. Before I get into the definitions of what I started, I feel that we need to stop following the fads and fashions of where the money is in art, because then you'll never stop. You'll never stop finding that. You're always gonna be working towards that grass is green on the other side. So coloring books were fashionable years ago. Everybody was doing a coloring book. But I was doing coloring books in the 90s. And that's because I like my drawings, I like my art, and people wanted copies of my work, right? So then what happens is that artists, when things get hot and they become trendy and fashionable, then artists spend a lot of time working on this idea, and then by the time they make it to the market, that trend might have died down. By the time you create a product, you see that the sales are not happening. But all along, before you even started working on that project, everybody was like, "Oh, that was a book coloring book, then I would buy it, or you'd get so many sales and you'd be rich or whatever. A lot of those, sometimes those things happen to be true, and a lot of times they're really just artists trying to do things. And I have nothing against coloring books. As a matter of fact, I support anybody, any artist who creates a product that is available for consumption and sell. So, any case, so that's just an example, right? So we can take it to murals, we can take it to web design, graphic design. Oh, if you would do flyers of this, or if you did posters of this, I would buy it. And then you spend a lot of time and money buying posters and creating your products, and then nobody buys it. So we gotta stop following the trends, chasing where you think the money is at, and focusing on what it is, your core of what you like to do and the art that you like to create, and then building a business on that, and building clientele that is going to then hire you for that kind of work, right? And that's where, and I kind of just went through that whole little story just to say that a C4 South, My Animation Life, C4 Atlanta, and Wenderroot, and organizations like that are designed to help work with the artists and build your name, your brand, your clientele, your market. And that's where portfolio comes into play. So let's define what a portfolio and why is it important. So a portfolio, it can be a sample of your work, right? And so I like to tell artists of all kinds to say, if you want to get paid to do posters, there should be posters in your portfolio. You should not have drawings. Thank you, Stephanie Mays, for tuning in. And I see your work. You should not have landscape pictures in your portfolio if you want to get hired by Coca-Cola to do their posters and marketing materials, right? You should have Coca-Cola product stuff in your portfolio, or posters or designs that speak to a brand and that can show the message of that brand to the potential client. So if you want to do character animations, there should be character animations in your portfolio. But so that's part one. Having the things that a proof of concept of something that you already know how to do in order to get the business that you want. But the second thing is, when it comes to a portfolio, is that it's important to have that portfolio. Come on in. It's okay. Why it's important to have a portfolio is because it also shows the kind of work you know how to do and how well you can do it. And Valentina Medina, that's my cousin. She's all the way in Cali watching this. Why are you so up early? I guess it's not early. 8:30 in LA. All right. And no sé si te dijo mi mamá que vamos a ir para allá a Los Ángeles a final de este mes. So then why is that a portfolio important? And what really should be in your portfolio is that, so what makes it important is that it shows the proof of concept of the things you know how to do. And if you're smart about it, your portfolio would have completed projects that you've done, that you completed and filled all the way through to the end. So what does that mean? I'll take an easy example, right? I like to draw. That's me. I like to draw. Drawing is all I want to do. Yes, I can do graphic design. I've done websites. I do murals, 2D illustrations, and digital and traditional media. Tattoos. I've been doing tattoos since 1990. Man, I'm old. 1995. It's a long time. 22 years, right? But I want to get paid just to draw. So what's in my portfolio? Drawings. All kinds of drawings. Drawings. I like drawing people. I want to get paid drawing people. That's it. I can do cars and things and maybe buildings. But I really like drawing people and characters. So that's what's in my portfolio. But not only is it in my portfolio, I have completed projects when it comes to characters and illustrations dealing with people. I have children's books in my portfolio. I just posted yesterday the full gallery of the 31 drawings for Inktober, right? That's what's in my portfolio, that I focused on a project. I worked on it every day. I posted as much as I could every day. And then at the end of the month, that is now online, available for you to look at and check out my work. So I have produced a complete project, and this is just Inktober, and it sounds like very something that doesn't mean anything until you actually do it, and you sit there and draw every day and draw every day, and you see your art improve, you see your skills get better and sharpen, but also shows the world that you can actually start something and finish something. Couple other things that could be in your portfolio. I have a couple of digital projects where I did digital illustrations for clients, and I show in my portfolio the process for those projects. So I talk about and I describe how the client came to me, what they asked for, what they wanted, what was going to be the purpose for this illustration, what was the best option to creating this illustration, and then my process in making it happen. And at the end, the finished product. So then that tells that other potential clients that Dan can start and finish a project, can be given a set of directions, he can put it into words, the thoughts that come into an artist's mind, the creativity and the feeling of creation, and put them into words. So now he sounds smart. He can understand concepts and ideas and express them and get them clear across to another person who can't read his mind. And I write all that out and I put that together, and that becomes a post. It becomes part of my portfolio. And if you want to check out my Behance, you want to check out my ArtStation, my own personal blog, deltatangomike.com/blog, then you'll be able to see some of the projects that I worked on, what was the task that I had to deal with, and how did I make it happen, and then what's the end. So now, not only is it just a portfolio saying, oh yeah, I can draw 31 drawings, it's I can draw and create a project based on what somebody needs for their business, for their culture, for their something, and I can put it together and then explain what happened here and why I am valuable. What is the value that I bring in the projects that I work on? That's it. That's the definition of what your portfolio should be. So when I mentioned Alyssa Lewis earlier, and I said, she said that she has said that I don't care about your portfolio, and I didn't go deeper and I didn't ask her anything, but I will have a conversation with her, and I am guessing, and this is just a theory, that she means I don't care about your portfolio, but I want to see the projects you worked on. What have you done, or what can you do? Show me what you can do. And that's a much harder definition of what a portfolio is. A lot of people decide that their portfolio is the sketchbook they did in high school, the sketchbook they filled out in college, and they are years removed from college, years removed from high school, and it's like, but where's your work from recent? Even if somebody is not paying you to do a project right now, you should be working on a project that is going to show your skills to anybody who looks at your portfolio. There's a lot of artists. I'm gonna get into how the promotion and so on. A lot of artists have this thing where they come. A lot of artists get people who come to them and say, "Oh, I got an awesome project. Let's create some shirts. I love the stuff that you do. I like the way you draw. We can sell those t-shirts at the Falcons game, all right? Every Sunday we can be at the Falcons game. We'll sell 100 t-shirts, $10, $20 a t-shirt. That's $2,000. We can be rich with your artwork. You draw." And so you get into these projects with people who have big dreams, and you're sitting there drawing. I've done it several times. Mobile games, t-shirt lines, apparel, comics. I've done a lot of these where people say they have an idea that's going to make money, and then you work on somebody else's property, somebody else's ideas, and maybe you get a little bit of money out of it, and maybe nothing happens. A lot of times nothing happens. And so now that time that you spent working on somebody's project, an idea that leads nowhere, could have been time spent you working on a project for yourself, working on a series of drawings for yourself, working on a series of logos, working on a series of illustrations of a children's book or something that then you can have complete. And if it never gets printed, it doesn't matter, as long as you can show in your portfolio this project that exists nowhere except in your hands. You could work on a series of movie posters, and as long as that is there in your portfolio, the next time that Disney needs some fresh new blood on movie posters, they're going to send their creative director to Behance, do a search on movie posters, and you're going to come up and they'll be like, whoa, I didn't know this artist is out here doing these posters. Who is this person? Why is he not in our payroll? Let's give him a bag of cash. Come on, do some posters for us. So that's something that you have to think about when you're considering options and ideas from people who come to you, and whether or not you work on a project that may or may not lead to something, or a project that was going to help you build that portfolio and show the work that you like to do, show the work that you enjoy. Artists, we do not need to cater to what's hot right now or who has the dollar right now. Unless somebody's giving you large amounts of money to pay all your bills at one time, then yes. Can I do a website? Yes, I can do a website. It's going to cost a grip, but I'll do your website. And if I can't do what I need to do, I bring in my wife who does the code. We've worked on a lot of websites in the past. I'll bring in other designers. I'll bring in copywriters and everything, because the budget is there. But what you want to do to build your brand and build your career is to figure out the kind of art that you want to create, the kind of art the kind of clientele you can build with that type of art, and then have a fan base that then you sell and cater to based on what you like to draw yourself. And that is set up by working on the projects that are going to show off a great, awesome portfolio and the great talent that you have and the value that you have. One of the biggest things that artists have to get past is the starving artist mentality. All right? And so I see this a lot on Facebook and on everywhere else. And what I see all the time is, in particular, I don't care to see your portfolio because your reputation precedes you. You're a make it happen kind of person. If you're given a task, you're resourceful, driven, and getting big props by committing enough to complete it. You also have lots of content showcasing your skills. Yes, thank you, Alyssa. She says, I don't need a portfolio. Awesome. I appreciate those kind words. But I'm still going to have a conversation with you because Alyssa Lewis hires a lot of artists, a lot of illustrators and designers and animators. And so she has some insight as to what is going to work for what particular project and what she's looking for. And if you want to work on those projects and be that kind of artist who likes a particular type of thing, then you need that feedback from somebody to then show you and guide you to elevate your work to that point. All right. So I was saying, yes, that I see this on social media all the time. And that's because that's where we are most of the time, right? Social media. We don't see each other in person often because we're always busy working, or there's an event or something, and that's when you catch up with somebody. But we see this on social media a lot, where the artist will say, art sale. I gotta sell my art. This art needs to go because I need to pay the rent. Pause right there, yeah. What the hell are you talking about? Your art collectors, your clients should not come to you because now you need to pay your rent. They should come to you because they see the value in your work. They see your talent. They see that you are a solution to something that they need, that they have a problem with. They have a problem in that they want to put out a t-shirt line of 5 t-shirts and they only have 1 drawing and they need 4 more, and you're the person for it. Not because your rent is due. Your rent is due every month. Your bills are due every month. Another thing is, anybody want to buy art? And I see this a lot because there's an Ice Cube meme where he's got his arms up and he's standing on the porch, and then it says, anybody want to buy art? No, not your art. Or yes, but not your art. No, they don't want to buy your art. If they did, they would have already bought it, or they would be talking to you about buying your art. And the last thing is, I saw this on LinkedIn. It says, character designing, looking for some freelance work in animation. My portfolio is at such and such. Which reminds me of another LinkedIn thing where another LinkedIn post where somebody said, hey, some baseball team, hire me. And what the problem with those is that you are not showing the world where your value is. you're not showing the world, why would they hire you? Why would they need you? What value do you bring to somebody who has money and it's in the industry that you want to work in? That's where the portfolio comes into play. So if you read the text that's in the video, one of my suggestions says character designer on the hunt for collaboration projects in animation and 2D composition, or something like that, right? My previous projects include Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Arby's, and can be found online here at www. So what you really want to do, and that's very short, is really just a quick pitch, right? What you want to do is talk about what it is that you know how to do that's really great that somebody else can use, or that somebody else has used in their projects. And when Coca-Cola calls me and they ask me to come and draw, and I love it because I get to just draw. They tell me stuff and I draw it, right? And that's it. That's the job. What I like about some of those things is that some of those projects, and the way I try to frame that, is that I can bring to paper and pen the ideas that you have in your head to then show you where you're going. And you can see that in my portfolio. I've done it for TEDx. One particular year, last year, I was at TEDx and I was drawing what they were talking about on stage. And at the end of the day, we had 3 big canvases where you could see, call it scribing, they call it live scribe. There's other words for it. I forget exactly what the words are. But the point is that my skill, my value is that I can put into pictures the words that somebody says. And that's what I want to get paid to do. And who are those customers for that? Well, yes, there are friends and family. Those are your first customers. Then you have acquaintances and people who come across your work one way or the other. But you should have a target of the kind that focuses on who those customers may be. A target on the kind of customers that would use your artwork to illustrate what they're thinking, but also the kind of customers that can afford the price that you want to get paid. I have nothing against anybody working for any amount of dollars, for any reason, for any type of work. We're talking about art, for drawings or whatever. But I could not work for some of the rates that I see online or even in person at conventions. And so what I want is to focus on the kind of clients that are going to give me the money that I need to pay my bills. Yes, it comes back to bills, right? It comes back to my way of life. I've been a working artist for 22 years. I not had a job since 1995. I was a forklift driver. And when I finally quit that and walked back into the tattoo shop where I was apprenticing, and I said, that's it, I'm ready to do tattoos full time. I was going with a story for that. What was I talking about?
That you quit day job, work life. You're a professional artist.
I'm a professional artist.
I'm doing tattoos full time.
And so
you gotta pay your bills. So
that's right. So at the end of the day, my art is how I pay my bills. Thank you, because I needed that. It's how I pay my bills. At the end of the day, this is how I sustain my family, my studio, my home, my household, how we pay for vacations, how we pay for technology and the stuff that I have. That is art. It's through the work and finding money to pay for these things. But it's how you frame your focus, how you frame the marketing, how you frame your portfolio that will allow you to succeed in it or sound like a desperate person who will work for pennies. And that's what we need to work on and fix, and that's why I'm here talking to you. We need to improve on that. We need to grow. We need to do better. I was looking through Twitter this morning, and somebody said that, and I'm not sure how true it is, but I've had a few experiences in the last couple weeks that I'm very suspicious about. But they said on Twitter that there are forums online for business owners and on tips and tricks on how to make sure you get free or very cheap artwork for your projects. That could be graphic design, web design, illustration, animation, everything. Anything you're interested in, anything you need for your business, there's ways to find it and make the artist feel like they got to give it away for free or cheap. And that big misconception is that somehow because you already have this equipment or you already have a stack of paper and you have an art pad, that you should just be able to draw for me what I need and be thankful. And that's where the starving artist mentality comes from, and not just from the artist who's poor because they spend money on art materials and they suffer through a job just so they can afford to have that little joy in their life. No, that starving artist mentality comes from businesses telling you that because it's a natural thing and it comes from your heart and it comes from your talent, that you should do it for free. You should do me this favor. We heard from business one time, the startup, that were building an app. They wanted me and this other artist to create an animation for them so they can go pitch the business and get $1 million or however large amount of money they wanted. But we were supposed to do it for free because they had no money right now. And that maybe if they go ahead and hit it big, then they'll pay us for it. Well, how am I going to pay my bills right now? I'm going to spend a month working on your project. I'm going to put in all my technology to work for you. And at the end of the month, maybe your pitch goes well and you're a great salesperson and you get the money you were asking for, and then maybe I get paid. So we have to pay attention to these things and be careful how we talk. Be careful how we promote ourselves. Be careful how we carry ourselves. You should have respect for your talent, respect your craft, respect your skills, respect your time. And at some point, you take the time to educate yourself in the business of art. Go out to free meetups. There are free resources out there. They are all over the internet nowadays. If you don't know somebody in person, they are all over the internet. I guarantee you will find any answer to any question as long as you ask it on a Google search. And let me tell you, I started my career in the 90s, 1990, what did I say, 95, right? And by 94, I got to Atlanta. I was doing logos and not getting paid for them. People were playing me out. And I had to learn, and I had to figure out, well, what is the best way for me to figure out this thing that I want to get paid to do art? Apparently, other artists have done it before. And because other artists have done it in the past, that means I should be able to do it too. That means it's possible for me to do it. That means it's possible for you to do it. So what I did is I sent out a lot of requests for proposals, for logos and illustrations. This is back in the day, through fax. I found in the yellow pages, I found design firms. I called them and said, hey, I need a logo. How much do you charge? They said, oh, you need to send us in some details. These are the questions we need you to send us to us. Send us a fax, and then we'll send you a quote. I said, okay, I can do that. So I would type out some stuff, put it on the little fax machine, send it off. The next day or two, I get a fax back, look at it, it's like, home. So that's how much they charge for a logo. This is the details that it includes that the logo price includes, and this is how much deposit they need. I need to get a deposit. So I started reaching out and looking for other artists and looking for designers and looking for design companies to then feed me the information that I need. And if you come up to a designer or illustrator and say, hey, how do you make money? That's the wrong question to ask. If you ask, how much do you charge for a logo? Because I need to go charge somebody for a logo, so I need to know a price. That's the wrong way to ask. The resources are out there. And the right way is to find the artists you admire, find the designers you admire, say, hey, how can I collaborate with you? How can I come and learn from you? Do you have a class online? Do you have tutorials about the work that you do online? Everything is online. You may not even have to ask them. Just do a search. And then before you even search for Yellow Pages, thank you, Wayman. He's older than me. Before you got out there and asked these artists or creatives for access and information, find out online if they have that info already out there. Havana Wen is out there cranking out good work with Kamikaze Animated. and she changed careers middle of last year. And let me tell you, I have nothing against school, and if you like going to school, that's cool. But there are people like me and her who who jump into their career, into that industry, and figuring things out on your own, connecting with resources in person, connecting with resources online, and then finding the people who make it work for you. Finding the people who are going to feed you that information that you need. I have mentors. Good scale of business. Thank you, brother. Yes, sir. Robert Jackson. I have mentors. And what I do is I ask them questions. Number one, I invite them out to coffee. I invite them out to lunch. I buy them a meal. I don't just stalk them and say, hey, man, can you give me the secrets about how you making your money? What I do is I try to connect with them, say, hey, let's come out to my show. Hey, come and see what I'm doing. I go to their shows. I support their business. My wife I take her to the art shows with me, and she likes to buy art from everybody who's there. And I'm like, why'd you buy that? And she said, oh, because we have to support our own art community. I was like, okay, you're right. You're right. I support them by showing up. She supports them by buying stuff, especially if you sell earrings. She buys them up. In any case, you go out and you start connecting with people and building that relationship. So then you can start asking a question. And one of my mentors, I asked him, I said, hey, how could I improve my art show? This dude got big time sponsors. And he'll sit down and talk to me and tell me, Dan, what you need to do is this. What you need to do is that. And I'm writing down notes. I'm like, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. And then I go off, say, thank you. Here's your, let's finish our meal. Here's your tea, blah, blah. And then I'm run off and I go do that which he just told me to do. And that's how you build connections, and you start building a relationship with somebody, and then they realize that, you know what, you're serious. You do want to learn. I don't have a college degree. I never went to college. I never went to school about this stuff. I just started doing it and figuring it out and how I can best make it work for me. The information is out there. These are one of your resources. This video right here, me talking to you and looking at the camera, all crazy. The blurry looking camera. As long as you can hear my words, this is a resource. Come out to the meetups, meet the artists, meet the people who are doing things in the art community and finding ways for artists to get hired, finding ways for artists to step up their game, get their weight up, get your portfolio together, learn how to talk positive about yourself. Don't say, I'm trying to, or, would you please support me, help, I need your help, I can't stand, I'm kind of venting a little bit, sorry. Can't stand those GoFundMes. I want to start a business. Look, if you don't have customers right now, and then you don't have a business. You need to start with finding your customers. You need to start by doing that work that's going to bring in those customers. All right, so this DTM, I'm kind of going long. All right, you got it. I love Havana. Yes, she is awesome. I'm going to have an interview with her too. So I need to get Alyssa in here in the studio. In any case, check me out. I'm on Delta Tango Mike everywhere on the internet. Delta Tango Mike. My website is deltatangomike.com. My Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook is Delta Tango Mike. A lot of the resources that I share are on artistking.org. You can go to artistking.org/events for more upcoming classes and workshops that are happening around Atlanta. I try to, when I get a chance, I try to put in some things in there so that you don't have to scour the internet like I have. You don't have to scour the earth for information. We kind of put it into place. We have podcasts. I've interviewed over 90 artists on their process, on their life, on their inspiration. You should check that out. It's on iTunes and it's on the website. You can go through the website. We have a magazine on Flipboard magazine. It's an iOS app and Android. You can catch up on what's happening with Artist King and really in the arts community. And then we have the meetups, all right? So the second Saturday of the month, we're at General Assembly.